So, what is Conversations with Coryelle all about? It's a weekly series on a wide variety of topics, from the metaphysical to the philosophical, from the erotic to the exotic, from the mystical to the spiritual. It's all about showing you how to enhance your life. And I'll also be showing you ways on how you can enhance your animals' lives too. I'll be joined by host Kevin McDonald. I'm happy to have you here. Now let's have a conversation.
No. I'm happy to have you here. How are you?
You here. You. No, I'm doing good.
You're looking fabulous as always, my dear. Indeed. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Very good.
How was your week?
Good. The week was good. So far so good. Last week was a little hard. One of my longtime clients that I dedicated last week's show to, they helped him over the Rainbow Bridge, so to speak, at the end of last week. So that was a little difficult. It's been up and down emotional for all of us. And I'll talk about him a little bit more because he's a wonderful example of our topic for today.
Absolutely, because I have no idea where this is going because we haven't really talked about what shadows are, because that's something that you found new that you have discovered. But before we go there, I just wanted to just say one thing real quick about helping somebody over the Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah.
And that is, I lost my beloved Wesley. I had him for 14 and a half years. He was a border collie. Really good dog. And the day that we decided that we had to do it, we actually called a service that came to my apartment, and we did it there, and it was and it happened to be a veterinarian, obviously.
Yeah.
And so we spent the time talking about, because you when that day comes, you're never sure if that day should come then whenever
Absolutely. I mean, even for somebody who's an animal communicator,
yeah
you get into the head, and it can be a very, very challenging time. Absolutely, without a doubt. It can be very challenging, especially, not that all of our animals don't mean something, but especially when it is an animal who is truly from your heart. Well, I call them a heart animal, an animal that you have such a deep connection with. That could be almost excruciating, if not excruciating.
and I've lost two that way, and I'm a dog guy, and he was, I mean, Wesley helped me through the divorce. He helped me through moving to an apartment.
Yeah.
We were buddies. We were just the two of us.
Yeah.
And the day that he went, it's interesting. The day that he went, I was playing music in the background, and there was 3 different songs that all had the theme of going home.
Oh, yeah, that happened to me too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the service was great. They came, and she concurred that there was no turning back. That this is where he was going to be, and so she did that, and then I helped her take him out, and then she sent me a sympathy card. She then a year later sent me another sympathy card saying, I know the first year. So, there are people that even though they're in that business, and I couldn't do it, I just couldn't do it. But that was just so cool that there are people out there to help you through, which has to be, next to the death of a close relative who you dearly love. That is the hardest thing that I've ever had to face.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really incredible and great that you were able to get that person to come into your home. That makes all the difference. I mean, I'm not saying that doing it in the vet clinic is wrong. I'm not. but it is what it is. What it is. We all got to do what we got to do. But I think that having that ability to have that animal pass in your home, in their comfort of their own home, in their own bed, makes it's night and day. It's night
Yeah,
and day.
he passed in his own bed, and it was like, she gave him a shot, and it was like he just went to sleep, and then she did what she had to do, and so he was comfortable,
Yeah.
and he felt safe. He didn't feel like that was a because my prior dog that I had to do that, we did that in the doctor's office, which is why I won't do that again. And it was difficult for him because it was unfamiliar. The people over there were unfamiliar, and it was scary.
Yeah.
This took all the fear out of it, and he was able to pass peacefully. And it's even talking about it today, it's just awful. But
I
but
know.
so I feel so Willem, I feel really sad for his parents, because I know that he was a really good dog for them, and he got sick, and you did everything that you could to help him, and matter of fact, what we're going to do next week, if you're listening to this, we're going to play a tribute a video once I figure out how to download it and load it up. We'll do that next week. Is that all right?
Yeah. Of Willem? Yeah. That would be great. I'm sure his people appreciate your sentiment and your words and playing that little video because it's extraordinary. I mean, the text, I keep all the texts from my clients now because the stuff that's going on is so um instantaneous in some ways that it's blowing my mind. And I need to look sometimes back at these texts. Like I was looking back at the text from some people that I sent healing to their animals and did shadow work with their animals. And, like a few minutes later or the next day, they're like, yeah, he's running around, he's eating, he's pooping, he's peeing, whereas before they couldn't even move or they were totally and completely lethargic. And I'm just like, and it's blowing my mind. It is absolutely blowing my mind how when I found this, and it was all of it's it was all Willem's fault. Um, he was, he was the first animal I ever did this work on. And I talked about this several times in other shows where it was his person contacted me and she said, I believe that he's at the end of his life.
Mhm.
He's not getting up. He can't get up without a harness. He is pooping in his bed. And Willem is was a very, I call him is because he's still here to me. Is was Willem is
Is
a very proud dog. Very proud. He was a Great Dane. He had a lot of pride to him. He was extremely enlightened. And he was extremely in touch with people and other beings. So what I want to say is that he was, for him to poop in his bed was a big deal. Okay, because he would never act out in a negative way unless he had no control over it. So what happened was that she sent me a picture of him, or actually, this is a scan from a movie. This is from the movie that they sent me, and it's a very short movie. It's like 3 seconds long, the first one that they sent me, and it's him just standing there, and his person is calling to him, Willem, look at mommy, look at mommy. And Willem is just so totally, his head is down and he just looks and he goes back. He's just so ashamed. And this is, I hope I can show this to you. If not, I will post it on the thread afterwards or the replay afterwards. But this is Willem standing there. And what it was that he's got the harness on. Look at his back leg over here. His back leg is so weak. He can barely, use it, as you can see. And his face is, he's got such his eyes are closed and he's just like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. And that's not Willem. That's not Willem. So it really it broke my heart. So he was the first one. I connected to him like let me explain. So the way I used to work is the way I was called to work back then is I would do a full body scan. I am empathic. What that means is I could get a sense for a person's body or another being's body, what they need, what's going on. It's almost kind of like having Superman X-ray vision. You can go through and see what's going on. It's more than that. I get a sense for the different organs in the body, the different systems in the body, and what it needs and what's going on with it. So that's the way I used to work. Occasionally, I would get called to do the chakras and see the chakras and send them light and realign those. But that was it. That's as far as I went. That I never knew there was anything more. So when I told his person, let me send him healing. Let's see what's going on. Let me scan him. Let me send him healing. Let's see what's going on. So I am extremely intuitive. I hear stuff. I get this sense, this knowing. I don't know how to describe it. It happens so quickly now. I can't really put it into words. So this is going to sound crazy, but welcome to my world. So I started scanning him. And the way I do it is I literally go from nose to the tip of the tail. Then I go into the body even more, going into the different systems, nervous system, immune system, circulatory system, skeletal system, joints, bones, tendons, muscles to see if there's anything going on there. Then I go deeper. I go into the cellular system. I go into the lymphatic and endocrine system. I go into all these systems and see what's going on. This is going to sound ugly, but taking it apart. I'm not taking the animal apart. I'm just taking the situation apart. And it's kind of like the game Operation. If you ever played the game Operation, so you're going, and if you touch the sides, if I find something, I get buzzed, and I can't go past it until I acknowledge it, look at it, see it, and then make note of it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's trippy. When I first started going into people's or other beings' bodies, and I started to see their bodies on the inside, I don't need to do drugs. It's trippy. Okay, this is my life. So I did him, and I did his body and the different systems. And I got this sense at the same time I heard in my mind, go deeper. And I knew where I was supposed to go. It was almost like I was brought to the chakra system. Okay, here is where we got to go next. And I'm like, okay, so we'll do the chakra work. Fine, not a problem. So I aligned his chakras. I saw that some were spinning backwards, some were clogged, some were stagnant, some were just need a little, light because it would just shut a little bit. So we went through the chakras. And then I heard a voice say to me, and again, I was pulled. It's kind of like being guided. Somebody or something literally takes your hand, pulls you, but it's a metaphysical hand, and pulls you to the next place that you need to go and says, go deeper. Now, I had never done this kind of work before. I didn't know where the hell I was. Okay. And again, this is where I'm saying it becomes trippy. It's like I see in my mind's eye at the same time, I see, and I'm there, and I see it with my eyes, but it's almost like this world is overlaying it. So I'm not quite there, but I see it in my mind's eye. That's the best way I could describe it. So I got pulled to this other level. I had no idea where the hell I was. And all of a sudden, I was able to see a 3D of Willem. And the 3D was really cool. And I immediately downloaded this information, why I'm seeing this dog in 3D all of a sudden, whereas he was 2D before. I'm seeing them in 3D in this level because when you are able to take it's the difference between looking at a picture like this and looking at an object and being able to turn it in 6 different ways. So what I understood was that I noticed there was something going on. I didn't know what it was, but I would see these things all of a sudden. It was almost like floaters in my eyes. But then it was happening also in my third eye. And I would see these floaters, but the minute I turned the object or turned Willem one way, they would be gone. And then I would turn them another way and they would be there. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on. But I looked at him, so I was able to turn Willem front, back, top, bottom, left, and then I spun him right. And when I spun him right, everything else was clear. But when I spun him right, I saw this little puff of a shadow, like a cloud, like those little puff clouds you used to draw when you were a kid, but it was black, right by his shoulder, his right shoulder. And I said, what the hell is going on? Now, I instinctively knew that this was something that wasn't supposed to be there. I also instinctively knew it wasn't in his body scan, certainly wasn't in a chakra scan. I had to go to a whole new level. At the time, I called it the shadow level because that's where I saw the shadows. I've come to understand that this is now their auric field. Every being has this field around their body. And it's kind of like your filter to the outside world. It's kind of like your filter to, and for animals, it allows them to really tap into unconditional love, Christ-like consciousness, the stream of well-being, which I've talked about in the animal experience. So, but this thing is usually, how do I explain this? This thing is usually clear. It's a filter, and it's clear and clean usually. What I've come to understand after doing a lot of, connecting to spirit and connecting to divine and finding out what this thing is, and also just going into my knowing, is that this field is on every single being on this planet. Animals usually are very, very tapped into this field unless they go through extreme abuse, mistreatment, neglect, things like that there. And then they have these shadows start appearing in this field. What's beginning to happen, and I noticed this after I did Willem, because I would go into every animal that I would come across that was having behavioral issues or that was having physical issues. And I immediately would do the 3 scans: body, spirit, mind, body, spirit, and the auric field. So the body, the chakras, and the auric field. And I was coming across these shadows in all different kinds of places, not just always the same place. Willem's was on his right shoulder. So I come to understand more what that is. But getting back to Willem, what I discovered after going in, and I went in, I started doing a technique that I instinctively knew what to do to alleviate these shadows. See, these shadows, you can't just hit them with light. They surprisingly enough, when you acknowledge them and you talk to them and you bring them close to you and you ask them a question over and over and over again, which is the technique that I do. Nobody else is doing it with these shadows. And what I do is that I acknowledge them. I give them an access to be able to channel their messages directly to whatever being they're attached to. They're not evil. They're not maleficent. They're not darkness incarnate. They're not the devil. There's no such thing. Sorry, there isn't. Anyway, these, what I was finding was time and time again, what I'm finding is that these are energy. These are energetic beings, guides, angels, just energy itself. That what happens is that they get caught up and they get blocked and they start turning into shadows. They lose their light because their light gets sucked in from the auric field, which is trying to cleanse them out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I don't know why it makes sense, but it makes sense.
I don't know why either, but it does. I mean, it's energy. Energy gets stuck. It gets stuck. So what happens is that what's been happening now is that because humanity has been going through this shift of consciousness for the last 25 years or so, we are really at the cusp of it right now, really. And humanity is getting hit, and humanity is getting hit, and humanity is getting hit over and over and over and over again. And because of this, our animals are now living with us almost 24/7. Whereas before they could get a cut, like a break when we went to work. Now
Right.
they're living with us constantly. And humans, we're not to say that we're bad and animals are good, but humans get trapped in their own stuff.
We're more complicated.
I think we complicate things too
Yeah.
much, but I don't think we're complicated. I really don't. I think we use that as an excuse. That's another show. I think we use that as an excuse to hold us in our shit. Okay, that's my opinion.
Because some of us like holding our shit and being having that because of the drama that's involved and all of that, rather than to let it go. But let me ask you, these fields of energy, they get trapped, and they how do you release them? How do you get them on their way? How do you do that?
I can't let you know all my secrets. Then never learn them. No, okay. So I'll explain that. Okay, I'll explain it a little bit. All right, but so what happens is that humanity's getting hit, and our animals are usually, their filter is able to keep them attached to their stream of consciousness, to their Christ-like unconditional love, to all that kind of stuff. But we keep getting hit and hit and hit and hit, and like any filter, if it's not maintained or if it's overused, it's going to get clogged. It's going to get clogged. So
Yep.
you have to clear it out. But hitting it with light is not the answer, because that's not going to do it. They have messages. A lot of these beings or these entities have messages for the being that they're with. Turns out what happened with Willem was he was his people used to call him the chief stress relief officer for their wellness clinic. And what happened was that one day, and William was always able to just, filter. He was okay. So he would come in and people would love him, and they would relieve their stress. They're going through some physical stuff, and he would just make them feel better. What happened was that one client had come in. This is what I got. One client had come in, and they were particularly going through very, very strong emotions. Strong emotions towards themselves, strong emotion towards their partner, strong emotions towards the situation. And this little puffball got herded away from the pack and got stuck to Willem. And it activated, it messed him up to such an extent that it started messing with his equilibrium, because he wasn't in balance anymore. It started to pull him off balance. And the same leg, the same leg that looks all weak, that was the shoulder I found it on. So the the I was able to just instinctively talk to it. I talked to it. I asked it a question that was geared specifically for this situation with Willem. And I asked the question over and over again, and I asked the entity to let me know, the first answer that comes to them. And I did this. And usually when I do a session like this, when I do a healing session, it is anywhere between 60 to 90 minutes because it is intense work. It is no joke. It's not just throwing light at a situation, hoping it works. That's not what this is about. So this one was about 90 minutes because it was my first one. I never did this before. Now it takes a little less time. But his person immediately sent me, when I told her I'm done, I sent him the healing. I started getting text. He seems to be, he seems to be doing better. He's able to stand on his own. He's able to walk on his own. And then progressively over the next few days, it was like, he's his old self again. And then she sent me the movie that we want to play. And I was floored. I was powerful before. I was an absolutely powerful energetic healer. But it was like I had been pulled to the next level. And I had never seen this before in my life. I had never experienced almost instantaneous healing like this before. And it's helping animals heal. Some are instantaneous, some like Willem, or you start to see it right away. But some, it takes a little bit of time, but you do start to see the difference. And it's such a huge shift that you can't just say it's a coincidence, because an animal that couldn't walk or is vomiting up, constantly and having diarrhea constantly, after a session I do them with, 20 minutes later, they're not vomiting anymore, or they're not having the diarrhea, or they're not biting people, or they're not doing it. You can't dispute this. It's just because, and a lot of the times when a person comes to me and says the vets have no idea what's going on, I know instinctively I'm going to find shadows. I just know it.
So is it kind of like, now I don't know a lot about cars, but the one thing that I do know is that if you have a clogged air filter, or excuse me, a clogged fuel filter, the thing's going to run rough. It's not going to run right. It's not going to be right. So if you clean out that, all of a sudden, magically, it'll run fine.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're doing, is you're clearing out the blockages, the energy blockages
Yeah.
that are in there. Now, do these entities, are they're you said they're benevolent and they're not interested in harm. Is it that it just, because of circumstances, they get clogged up?
Yeah, I haven't come now. I'm not saying this 100%. I've only been doing this for Willem. I did him in August, so I've only been doing shadow work since August. But it's been profound, and I have not found any quote unquote baddies anywhere. They all start, as I start asking them these questions, and they get they're relieving their messages to this being, whoever it is. They start lightening. There's always there's always a certain point as I'm doing this that it's almost like the cork pops out of the bottle. And this being starts lightening up. They start changing in my mind's eye. They go from, and I ask them to manifest however they want to manifest into whatever. Nothing's going to scare me. They can manifest it. I had one the other day manifest into a 7-foot humanoid with bat wings. I don't care. It's all right. That doesn't scare me. I know that you don't mean me harm. I feel it. So, I ask them to manifest, and then I can talk to them easier. And then they start shifting and changing and shifting and changing. And to my surprise, when they're done morphing, they go back to their original energetic form, whether that is angelic, whether it is just a beam of light, whether it is a rubber ducky. I don't care what it is. They choose it. It's whatever. And then I can either tell them they can either go back to source energy. I can do it for them. They can do it on their own, or I can ask one of my guides to take them to the door because they want to go back to source energy. They got stuck. Just because something's energy doesn't mean that it can't get stuck. You're going up against a being with free will. And if a being gets trapped in that mental mind merry-go-round of the shit, whatever it is, whether it's a male or a female, whether it's a they, them, whether it's a dog or a cat, it doesn't matter. If they get trapped in there, what starts happening is this energetic field, auric field, gets locked and they can't get out. And then they're bouncing back and forth. And it takes a lot of energy. And so what happens is their energy starts getting depleted. It's fascinating.
So let me ask you, is it like we have a constant flow of energy coming through us, coming from above, and it's coming through us, and it's enlightening us and giving us messages and things,
Sure.
and constantly happening to us. But when these get stuck, or is it almost like a drain that gets partially clogged, where it just starts to back up, and then it just stays there, and you can't get rid of it, and then it's like it just gets worse and worse and worse, and is that kind of how it's like?
Yeah, it can. And so what starts happening is it starts spilling over. Starts then affecting the chakras, working backwards. It starts affecting the chakras, starts affecting the life force or chi energy, and then it starts affecting the physical body. And when that happens, it either comes out in unwanted behavior. All of a sudden, I'll have people tell me, all of a sudden, this animal is getting triggered. All of a sudden, this animal he can't walk. All of a sudden, this animal, he was fine 1 minute and he's not fine the next. There are words that I listen for. So it's like anything. Yes, it starts backing up because this energy is not being seen. It's not being heard. It's not being felt. It's not being acknowledged. The messages can't come through. That energy starts getting, the more it's bouncing off, yes, it starts depleting, but also the more powerful it can become in a certain way because it's getting pissed. It's getting frustrated, frustrated energy. It makes so much sense. There is something called grounding. Now, so this has been scientifically proven now, okay? My people, the Native Americans, have known about it for millennia, but now that science has proven it, so it's real. Whatever. But basically what it is that it's talking about grounding yourself to the Earth's magnetic field. When you lose yourself and you're not grounded to the Earth's magnetic energy field, you don't sleep well, you are irritable, you are in a constant almost state of fear. You got what I call the squirrel mind, which is la 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 la. Can't turn it off. Talking about everything, bouncing off of this, bouncing off of that. So what starts happening is you are ungrounded. Now, the minute that you go into something like nature, you always feel better.
Yes,
You
you do.
always start to feel like, ooh, I needed this.
Even walking up to a big tree and putting your hands on the tree and feeling the vibration that's coming from that tree can make you feel better.
Absolutely. And you start to feel calmer in your mind. That's how you know that you're grounding to the Earth's magnetic field. You start becoming quieter in your mind. You start to become happier. You start to become more at peace. You start to feel connected. So this is scientifically proven now. Okay, so if there is energy that is detached and it's getting to the point where it's like it's not attached to anything, or it's not feeling totally and completely intact, what can happen is it can start causing physical, emotional, and mental problems within the person or the animal.
Do you realize how huge this is?
Yeah, you should have seen me the first time I saw that shadow. When I turned Willem, first off, I had never done this 3D thing before. This is a Ganesh from India. I'd never done this 3D before, but it makes total sense because shadows are two-dimensional. So I can't look at, if I'm looking at an animal full on and there's a shadow over here, if I'm looking at an animal full on, Scott, I want to go in, you can't see that shadow fully until you turn it that way, or you turn it that way.
You're
Then
right.
you can start to see it.
You're right. I'm more interested in the 7-foot tall Batman.
I've had them. I had another one turn into a smiley face. Like it was a circle in front of me, and then all of a sudden it got the boop boop eyes and the thing, something drew into the like cloud of the shadow like a smile. It's trippy. I can't make this stuff up. I seriously don't have this much of imagination. I don't.
Is it like they are trapped, they are dysfunctional, and you're freeing them, and so they can return to their natural state?
Yes, I don't know if I would call them dysfunctional. I would call them, and again, this is my understanding, I would call them trapped.
And that's what I mean by dysfunctional. They're not able to complete their normal processes that they do.
Right.
So they get stuck, and so they because they're stuck, they can't continue to do what they're supposed to do, which
Right.
makes them dysfunctional.
Right. And here's the thing that's big and huge: talking to them. My modus operandi would have been before I got into and I learned these new techniques, I would have just throw light at it because that's all I knew how to do. I didn't think it's a shadow. Why would I want to talk to a shadow? Are you crazy? What? It's a shadow. But this is where it's transformative. This is where that's the juicy, yummy part right there. It is so incredible. And the way that I do it, I don't say anything. That's for my clients to see. I don't want to spoil anything. But what I do want to talk about is this, okay? So you feel like your animal is suddenly coming on with something. You feel like your animal is all of a sudden, for some reason, acting out or whatever. What do you do? Well, first off, you contact me. But second, what I would really do is I would really just set the intention of trying to send light to your animal. I know that I just said don't send light to it, but unless you know what you're doing and where you're going, you can gum up the works a little bit. So what I would say is setting the intention of I am going to just send light to my animal. Let whatever needs to happen happen. And I'm just going to let go of the results. And the reason I'm saying this is because at least you're doing something. At least you feel like you're trying to do something and you're trying to move something. But also what's incredible is that feel how powerful you are. take your hands and rub your hands together for a few seconds or a minute or 30 seconds or whatever, it's good exercise. And then pull your hands apart slowly and feel that energy. That's energy. Now, depending on how tuned in you are, your hands might be very close together. That's okay. It's still energy. I'm not feeling it. Rub your hands again. Maybe go out and ground yourself first before you do it. And then you'll start to feel my hands are pretty much far away, but you can't see here. But then you can play with it. It's like taffy. Do something where you feel like you're trying to help your animal. Another thing that you can do, not only to help your animal, but to help yourself, meditate. Get quiet. Connect to your guides. Just ask them to come in. You don't need to know who they are. They could just be entities. But getting into the habit of making quiet time or connection time or something, going to meditationoasis.com and just downloading a massive amount. They have massive amounts of meditations from everything from, finding your inner chakras to, finding your inner child to getting in touch with the real you to, realigning your sleep pattern. It's incredible. So, get actively start to connect, because getting out in nature, going for a walk in a park, just going for a walk, okay? Move a muscle, change a thought. It's about trying to, especially during this time, you have to do whatever you have to do to soothe yourself.
Yep, that's true. That's true. And oh, by the way, on my Independence Report, there is a guided meditation that has been downloaded 2,000 times. And a good friend of mine put it together, and it really is quite something. It's a 30-minute thing, and it's a guided meditation, and
there you go.
Through stuff. So you can go there too if you want to. And by the way, Dawn White says the shadow work is just amazing. She's obviously seen it in action.
Well, Dawn was on the show last week.
Correct.
So it was her cat Lola. And yeah, she's not only did I do work with Lola and her sister cat Lexi, I also did shadow work and help with Dawn too, because this is one of the reasons why I love the work that I do now. It's working the whole package. It's not just the animals, it's the people involved with the animals. So I ask questions. I get nosy. I get fierce. You don't feel like answering them, that's fine. But I need to know what your relationships are like. I need to know what's going on with you. How are you doing? Are you living constantly every single day in fear and anxiety? Because it happens. Are you constantly listening to the news? Please, oh God, Lord have mercy. I understand you want to stay informed. I get it. Okay. But peter it out. All right. Because the news can be extremely overwhelming. Are you connecting to your spirit guides? Are you connecting to God? Are you connecting to Goddess? Are you connecting to Divine Feminine? Are you connecting to Divine Masculine? I don't care what you connect to. But are you connecting? Are you doing something to help you feel like you're not alone? Or are you just like white knuckling it and hope, oh my God, please, I can do this. I can get through this one more day.
And that is no way to live. That is so hard. And when you're white knuckling it, and you're not taking in, you're not seeking the guidance and the help of your guides, and it makes life really unbearable if you're not doing that. Because I'll tell you, Coryelle, some of the stuff that you're talking about today, a year ago, I would have said, "Wow."
I would have said, "Wow," myself too. And I'm an energetic healer. I mean, it's crazy. I get it. It's crazy. But think about it. Just
it makes perfect sense to me.
Don't poo-poo it. Just think about it. If you have something that is not seen, that is clogged up and backed up, wouldn't it make sense that it would start messing up your chakras, which are chi energy, again, scientifically proven?
Yep.
Okay. And then wouldn't it make sense that it messes with the physical body? Because there is a woman by the name of Esther Hicks, and she channels a group of entities called Abraham. And it's talking about law of attraction. And what Abraham talked about a few times, is more than a few times, but what Abraham talks about is when something manifests in the physical, there's been a lot of vibrational stuff going on back here behind the scenes. The manifestation of the physical is the manifestation of something that's been going on a lot longer. Okay, the manifestation of the physical is the last bastion. It is the universe, your body, whatever, saying, you know what? Okay, you're not listening to me when with your knowing. You're not listening to me from your dreams. You're not listening to me from your intuition. I gotta. If it's not physical for people, it's not real. So, and I'm not saying anybody did this on purpose. I'm just using this because it is very much in all of our vibrations right now. COVID. So what happens with this is that we're talking about, we're listening about, we're watching about it, and the COVID and the symptoms and the symptoms and the COVID and the symptoms and the COVID and the symptoms and the COVID, and that gets stuck in our vibration. That gets stuck in our auric field. That gets stuck in our chakras. That gets stuck in our vibrational bodies, and symptoms and COVID and symptoms and COVID and symptoms. And it gets stuck, and it's like a record. And even though we might not be aware that we're vibrating towards that symptom, we are. I don't know the symptoms of COVID. I don't watch the news. I don't want to listen to the radio. I don't watch newspapers. Now, for me, this feels right because I used to. And I then, at the same time, coincidence? Don't think so. I was also an alcoholic. I was a raging alcoholic because I was so scared of the world. Now, I'm not saying that was the only reason why I was an alcoholic, but it was one of them. So I don't watch the news. Everything that comes into my house gets streamed. I have control over what I see. Me. I don't know what the symptoms are. I don't want to know what the symptoms are. Don't tell me what the symptoms are. Don't send me a Facebook message about the symptoms. I don't want to know. Okay? I'm happy here. Why? Because I don't need that in my vibration. Is it, wait a minute, I'm not tasting the chili like I did last week. Could it be? Maybe. I don't know. Now, some people, knowledge is power, and that's okay. But knowledge can also be disempowering. Too much knowledge can be very disempowering. It can make you feel fearful. It can give you anxiety. It can give you agita. It can make you not sleep at night. It can make you go crazy, cookaboo. So I don't want, just be careful about what you give your power over to, please. I understand that we're dealing with this, and I'm not saying that the people who, God forbid, have it or God forbid died from it, did anything wrong. But I am saying it played a part in their vibrational pattern somewhere before it became a physical manifestation. That's just what I'm saying. And I'm sorry for the people who have COVID, and I'm sorry for the people who died for COVID, and I'm sorry for their families. I truly, truly am. But it's also, I have to say this because people are wondering why. Anything physical was vibrationally physical before it became physically physical.
Now, just to expand on that just a little bit, in your frame of reference, is it possible that the collective intelligence, the collective energy that we are all emitting globally, has led partially to this huge pandemic, which is a global thing, and it's affecting every country in the world and every person in the world
Yeah.
is having a profound effect. And can that be a global consciousness energy that has gone bad or got not bad, but it's
Yeah.
not
You stop
bad.
yourself before you say the word bad. I don't use the word bad.
I know.
I'm really rubbing off on you. I think there's a momentum.
Yeah,
I think there's a momentum.
that's what I was trying to say.
It's a wave. Okay. It's a wave. And depending, just like going to the beach. Okay. So you're out past all the hubbubaloo of the waves. Okay. You're just floating, just floating. I'm out of the turbulent time. I made my way through it, and now I'm just floating, waiting for a wave. Bring me back into the turbulence. But I'm not going to sit there saying, oh my God, this is awful. This wave I'm riding is awful. What I'm not going to be staying there. Okay. Do I get into conversations? Of course I do. I have friends and then, but I also I don't get stuck there. I refuse to get stuck there. Okay, we talked about it. Now can we move on? Let's talk about something positive. What's going on well in your life? What's going on good in your life? Let's raise it up, people. Okay, raise it up. Hallelujah. Raise it up. So
It's interesting because you bring that up, and that is exactly what I'm trying to do with my independence report, is
yeah,
to raise the global vibration of everybody who listens. And if you're listening now, please tell your friends. I've got 190 episodes. A lot of them involve this one here, and she is nothing short of amazing. But the whole idea is we cannot continue to be vibrating at the level that we're vibrating today because it's unhealthy. We have to raise our vibration globally for all of us, and to live a more positive lifestyle, more positive for each other. We have to accept each other as we are, and we have to uh, work together to achieve something better.
yeah.
And we can do that, but we have to work together to do that.
Or yes, and to a certain extent. And also you have to work on yourself. And I
Ye-
don't like the word work. I think that's too hard. I don't like it. It makes it feel like it's a chore. I want to accept myself. I want to allow in the good things in this life has to offer. Everything good. And whatever I can do to stay in my stream of well-being, think of it like a pipe. I posted a pipe on my Facebook page.
I saw that. That was very good.
So it's like a pipe. You want to keep that pipe clear. You don't want it clogged up, because it clogs up, it backs up, it messes up your chakras, messes up your chi, and messes up your physical body. So you want to keep it like a pipe. Now, do I have my thing like squeaky clean all the time? Of course not. There are sometimes I get in my own way, but what I try to do is I try to make a habit of feeling good, the habit, so that if I bounce down, it's like a ball. I bounce down, bounce right back up. I don't stay down there. Boom, 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 boom. I don't want to stay down there. I want to bounce right back up. So, what can I do to appreciate something in my life? I don't care what it is. Look around. What do you appreciate? Oh my God, look at that plant over there and that light that comes through the sunlight that comes through that beautiful leaf, or look at this beautiful background here and how that makes me feel. It's like if this was this I love this makes me happy. It's like find something, anything. I don't care if it's cheddar cheese. Find something. I love my car. I call my car baby. Every time I get into baby, I say, "Hello, baby. How are you?" Because I want my drive. I'm setting myself up for my drive. Does it sound stupid? I don't care. But I'm happy. I'm not having a bad drive. I'm not driving with asshats going, I'm like, "Hey, baby, how you doing? We're driving. It's
You know,
beautiful."
do you know how many people name their cars because they just it's a wonderful feeling to have
It is.
something like that. And your car, when you turn it on, it's alive.
It
And
is.
it's a wonderful place. And I agree with you 100%. If you can be positive, there is always. And I was having a conversation with somebody who's very close to me. You know who that is. And I was saying, look, there's always, even though there is turmoil and there can be trouble, there's always something that you are extraordinary at, that you're doing a bang up job of doing, and rest in that.
Right.
Let the rest of it go.
Yeah.
Rest in.
Because we think that it's so important to hang on to the shit.
Let it
And
go.
it's not. It's not. We think we're intellectually, superior to whatever because we're hanging on to what was. We're looking at what was. I want to look at what is and what will be. Because that's what I'm manifesting. What was. That's done. That's done. You can't do nothing about that. Okay? But I can do something about what is. And that's what the shadows are all about. The shadows are really talking about what do you want from your life? Do you want to step into your stream of well-being? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to feel your worth? Do you want to feel empowered or do you want to feel disempowered? So do whatever you can do to clean your shit up. It's not rocket science. I understand, but the longer you're stuck in that, the longer it's gonna be for you to get out. I want to stick a toe in the every once in a while because then I know what's really the makes you really know what the ahs are all about. But I don't want to be stuck there forever and a day. I don't want to be stuck there thinking about symptoms, symptoms, symptom. Click. Turn the TV off, turn the news off, stream everything through your computer, stream everything through your TV. You be in charge of what you want to be and what you want to see and what you want to do and what you want to hear. The news, no news is good news. That's my motto.
Well, and I'll tell you, I just got a motto for a T-shirt. Clean your shit up. I think that would be. It certainly would be a conversation starter, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
You
What
know,
do you mean clean your shit up? Do I have to wipe my ass? No. Clean your metaphysical, vibrational shit up.
and let it go.
And let it go.
It's
But that's the thing I want to say about the shadows. You can't just try to let those go. They need to be acknowledged. You need to acknowledge how you feel so you can move on from it. You can't just say, "Okay, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be happy right now and pretend that I'm not freaking out." You can't go from here to here. It's too big. You got to go gradual. So that's why I'm saying find something to appreciate. Get onto a rampage of here. Get onto a rampage. Sorry. Yeah, heal your shit. That's right. So get onto a rampage of appreciation. That's going to take you up a little bit, 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 because you can't go from here to here because your mind is going to scream bullshit. You can't have 25 cents in the bank and say, "I'm a millionaire." It's not going to work. Your mind's going to scream bullshit. So just take your time. Take your time, but move. That's all I'm saying.
You know, I'm beginning to hate this time with you because it goes by so fast. It's already been an hour, and and Coryelle, I just have to tell you, and on behalf of the people that are listening, that you are an extraordinary human being, and thank you for
Thank
being
you.
who you are. And I am so glad that I ran into you a while ago, and that we're doing this because this can really help people, I believe.
Yeah, I think what you're doing is amazing. I think you're an amazing human being, Kevin. I've known it from the moment that I met you. And I really do think that, please, I tell people, I'm going to tell you, please, if you like what this man is doing, and it's not just me, okay? It's not just my show. He's doing this. If you like what this man is doing, support what this man is doing. Like his Facebook page, like his support and subscribe to his YouTube videos, and go and download his podcasts, because what his message is, nobody else is saying. We need to stop this bullshit. We need to really and truly get real with who we are and start being happy, and make our happy and make loving one another our priority.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
that's what this man is doing. So please support that. That's what I'm asking.
Well, and like I've said before, Coryell, and thank you very much for that, because what I'm after is the more people that hear, the more people that are here for this message, that I invite people like you to come on and talk about. Um, the more healthy that we will all be, and the happier we'll be, and the more lives we can change. That's what I'm about. I don't care. I'm not. I don't make a dime from this. I'm not gonna. I'm not going to sell any commercials. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. I'm not going to monetize it. I'm not looking to monetize. I'm looking to save people from their own shit. So I'm going to get a t-shirt. Clean up your shit, man.
I like what Susan said. Heal your shit.
Yeah,
Heal your shit.
that's even a better one. That would be a great bumper sticker.
Yeah. That's going on my Facebook profile. I'm gonna make that in Canva and put it up. I promise you, I will. Heal your shit.
And that's so. Go ahead.
I just want to give a shout out. Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate you, and you being here. And I think you're extraordinary as well. I've known Sherry for quite a while. She is a client of mine. She's also a friend of mine. And then Dawn, I love you, and I love you and your little kitty for kid family. You know that you're all really mean a lot to me. So thank you all for tuning in. Susan, heal your shit. That's the bomb.
And by the way, Don, just so you know, your little kitty is all over the internet these days. It's done really, really well. It's on my page. It's on your page. It's on Coryelle's page. That episode we did last week. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. It really was very good.
Yeah.
And I just thank you. There is so much more to do. We are just at the beginning of where this is. I anticipate that you're going to be huge, and you're going to be world famous at one point, and you'll just drag my happy fat ass along with me. which is the key. So
Yes, absolutely. I'll put your happy fat ass in a shopping cart and just push your ass in.
that would be great, because it's what we're doing is important, and I appreciate everything that you've done. So,
Thank
and
you.
is there anything else, any last words you'd like to add before we close?
I think just be happy. I say this a lot, but just stop putting your happy on hold. It's affecting you. It's affecting your animals. It's affecting your family. So if everybody in the family would just stop putting their happy on hold and just get happy, even in a pandemic, can you do it? Yeah, you can do it. Okay, you can do it. Stop putting your happy on hold. Take care of you. Get you straightened out. And then through that vibration, you'll be helping others, your animals, your family, your friends. Be an uplifter. uplift yourself, and then you can help to uplift others. That's mine.
Say that again.
Be an uplifter. Uplift yourself first, because you cannot uplift others unless you uplift yourself first.
And stop putting your happy on hold. That's the best thing, because we all can be if we choose to be. It's totally up to us. Coryelle Kramer, you're going to be back next week with another conversation with Coryelle, and we're gonna show the film that we were going to try and show today, that of Willem. And we're gonna. Do you have any idea what we're talking about next week? We've got a long list.
We do have a long list. I don't know. I think that this subject came up this week, so I'm wondering if that's a sign. But rigid Reiki rules.
Ooh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So it's about, I'm thinking maybe, possibly, but it's not locked in yet, but probably is.
Well, the beauty of it is that I had no earthly idea where this was going when we got on here, and it turned out to be one of the best episodes we've ever done.
Thank you.
And it's just from my heart. It just makes me sing. So, and I hope that everybody that listens to this from now on and listens to it down the way will get as much out of it as we intended for it to have, because it was really cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, I almost hate to go, but at one point we do have to. We do have to close it at one point. So I'd like to thank Coryelle for being here. She's going to be here next Tuesday at noon, every Tuesday at noon, until I can convince her to do more. But we'll see when that is. But I've got another podcast coming up at 2:00 this afternoon, and it's about how to live the life that you really want to live. And it's an author that is her name is Georgette, and I forget her last name, but I don't have my calendar in front of me. But tune in at 2:00. It'd be worth your time. So with that, thank you so much, Coryelle.
Thank you. Thank everybody for joining. I appreciate you. I love you all.
Have a great day, everybody.
Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other, because each other's all we've got. See you next time on My Independence Report.